After the video spread, Byron's wife deactivated her social media.
We feel for her. So
Yes.
The CEO, Andy Byron, just released a statement where he apologizes to his partner, his kids, and his company.
8 hours before the stadium lights dimmed and the first note of Coldplay's set echoed through Gillette Stadium, Andy Byron was still a respected name in Silicon Valley boardrooms. His wife, Kerrion, was finalizing a family vacation. His company, Astronomer, had just rolled out a slick new update. Everything looked pristine on paper. But by the end of that concert, Byron's marriage, his job, and his billion-dollar image would all be on fire. And it all began with 15 seconds on the kiss cam. A camera zoomed, a joke landed, and in a single blink, the truth that Meghan had suspected for months was no longer private.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
It's the latter,
It
Chris.
seems to be the latter. This is a kiss cam catastrophe. This couple was caught on the big screen at the Coldplay concert in Boston last night.
It was 4K, viral, and streaming live across the internet. The concert was supposed to be a peaceful escape. A little confetti, some nostalgia, maybe a moment of innocent fun on the Jumbotron. But instead, it became a cultural detonation. As Coldplay's frontman Chris Martin scanned the crowd mid-set, his eyes landed on two executives seated suspiciously close: Andy Byron, CEO of a major tech firm, and Kristen Kitt, the company's head of HR. Either they're having an affair, Chris joked, or they're just very shy. The crowd erupted in laughter, but insiders claimed the moment that drew those laughs had already cost 2 careers and 1 marriage. Because what viewers didn't know was that Kerrion, Andy's wife, was already watching closely, and she wasn't laughing.
A manager at a Coldplay concert being caught on the kiss cam having an affair. I would have thought it's the most obvious thing, the first rule, if you probably shouldn't have an affair in the first place, but if you're going to have
Probably shouldn't go to a Coldplay concert.
Sources close to Meghan say the signs were there for months. Inconsistent travel schedules, hotel charges that didn't match client dinners, shifted passwords, and a gut feeling she couldn't shake. But she stayed quiet, she saved screenshots, she watched his public persona grow while her private doubts festered. According to reports, she even drafted a statement months ago reading, "I don't think I'll survive this unless the truth comes out." But she never posted it. She waited. And when the stadium camera zoomed in and caught Kristen leaning in, and Andy dropping his head like a man caught mid-lie, Meghan finally had confirmation. Not whispered, not suspected. Public, captured, undeniable. The fallout was instant. Byron posted a public apology on social media just hours later, quoting Coldplay lyrics and speaking of deep regret and private healing. But insiders claim the statement wasn't from him. Not directly. Word is, it came from a crisis PR firm, complete with timed hashtags and buzzwords like clarity and accountability. It trended for a moment, but just as quickly, a second post appeared. Same account, same blue check. But the tone had shifted. No remorse, just sarcasm. A dig at Coldplay. A final swipe.
Seemed like they did not want to be seen. Well, the two people appear to be the CEO of a software development firm and his head of HR.
The internet lost it. Was he hacked? Was this a meltdown in real time? While social media debated, Meghan made a quiet move that hit harder than any tweet. She removed Byron from her last name. No caption, no fanfare, just delete. The name change wasn't a cry for attention, it was a calculated cut. The first of many. By the time Instagram watchers noticed Kerrion had vanished from Facebook, her entire digital presence had gone dark. No long captions, no public meltdown, just silence. And that silence, sources say, was louder than any apology Andy Byron could post. According to friends close to the couple, Meghan had already contacted legal counsel weeks before the concert. What she was waiting for wasn't evidence. It was a moment, a trigger the world could see.
Saying, quote, "I want to express how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent." You're in a public place, man.
That moment had just played out in front of 60,000 concertgoers and millions more on TikTok. And behind the scenes, the real receipts were about to surface. At 2:17 a.m., a low-res spreadsheet appeared on Reddit, posted anonymously. One column showed repeated Uber charges tied to the exact address of Kristen Kitt's apartment. Another listed hotel bookings mirroring the locations of Astronomer's off-site strategy summits. Internet sleuths quickly cross-referenced the data with Andy Byron's keynote appearances and found a 3-hour window missing between 2 high-profile sessions, Word is, that time was unaccounted for in company logs. The internet didn't need confirmation, they needed patterns, and this one fit too perfectly. Then came the next blow, leaked Slack messages, reportedly sent by Byron, late at night. Messages like, need to de-stress after that demo? You free? Harmless on their own, but damning next to hotel invoices and expense forms labeled client entertainment. The phrase, room 722 again, was the nail in the coffin. According to industry insiders, that's when Astronomer's internal systems lit up. Security badge logs, once buried in HR folders, were reviewed.
What are you thinking?
You're not.
Tens of thousands of people there. Yeah, getting some bad advice. Maybe his HR person can help him. All right.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on.
They showed Byron and Kit swiping into the headquarters within 15 minutes of each other after midnight, repeatedly, Friday after Friday. Every pattern tighter than the last. By the weekend, what once looked like gossip had the cold precision of a legal exhibit. Expense reports revealed corporate charges at boutique florists near Kristen's home, regularly, like clockwork. Each leak reignited the internet's outrage like a fresh match. And just as the online fury started to cool, another piece of digital evidence dropped. TikTok sleuths built multi-angle timelines using Google Maps, concert seating charts, and LinkedIn travel posts. What began as a scandal was morphing into a forensic docuseries, unfolding in real time. But the damage wasn't confined to social media. Former employees began posting anonymously on platforms like Blind and Glassdoor, and what they shared wasn't about an affair. It was about a culture, one that allegedly prioritized control over well-being. Reports claimed Byron led with fear, not vision, tracking Slack activity late into the night, demanding status updates at 3:00 a.m., and allegedly maintaining a private channel to shame developers who logged off too early. One ex-employee even leaked a video from an old all-hands meeting, Byron pacing like a TED Talk reject, then snapping at a junior dev over a single, misaligned pixel. The man who once flinched under a stadium camera had allegedly built a workplace where nobody dared flinch at all. Once the culture cracks started showing, everything accelerated. What started as a cheating scandal was now being reframed as a full-blown crisis of leadership. Reports indicate that within Astronomer's internal Slack channels, engineers and staff began renaming workspaces as protest memes. One popular group chat allegedly rebranded to Wiki Astronomer After Dark, where employees cataloged years of buried complaints and ignored red flags. Another channel, once used for mandatory HR updates, was quietly renamed DEHR Sasters, a jab at Kristen Kitt, the woman now under fire not just for her personal relationship, but for being the very person who was supposed to enforce the rules. And insiders claim those rules were ignored precisely when it mattered most. Let's not forget, Kristen wasn't just any employee. She was the head of HR, the one responsible for compliance, ethics, and workplace boundaries. But when the person holding the rulebook is caught breaking the biggest rule of all, on a jumbotron no less, the fallout isn't just personal, it's legal. According to employment lawyers cited by industry outlets, undisclosed romantic relationships between high-ranking executives and HR directors can expose companies to massive liability. If any employee was disciplined, passed over for a raise, or fired under Kristen's watch while she was allegedly involved with the CEO, those decisions could now be legally challenged. And insiders say lawsuits are already being drafted. One tweet from a major plaintiff firm read, "Worked at Astronomer? We're listening." And Kristen's reaction? Silence. Her once active Twitter went private. Her LinkedIn, which used to boast of earning CEO trust faster than a product demo, froze overnight. That same line is now being reposted by employees with clown emojis and side-eye GIFs. Multiple sources say Kristen is now following legal counsel's advice and has been placed on administrative leave, pending a full investigation. No formal memo was released to staff, but word of the internal meeting spread quickly. For a company that prided itself on transparency, the lack of official communication was its own kind of scandal. Employees began circulating old boundary training slide decks, but now they weren't educational. They were punchlines, because when the face of compliance gets caught in the scandal, every past rule starts to look like a cover-up. Meanwhile, the jokes didn't stay confined to Slack. The story had crossed into the pop culture bloodstream. Late-night comedians saw a target too good to resist. Jimmy Fallon aired a parody Kiss Cam segment featuring cardboard CEOs hiding behind flowcharts. Stephen Colbert called it the first HR scandal caused by a Coldplay lyric. SNL leaked teaser clips of a mock deposition sketch titled "Fix You, Fire You." Even Elon Musk couldn't resist, posting, "Live by the data, die by the Kiss Cam." Meme accounts exploded with remixed corporate training slides, pairing workplace ethics quotes with freeze frames of Andy and Kristen's now infamous embrace. And through it all, Astronomer's official channels stayed quiet. But silence in a world that demands accountability speaks louder than anything else. While the memes kept spreading, Astronomer's internal morale collapsed. According to sources inside the company, leadership vanished from Slack, inboxes went dark, and what was once a well-oiled data firm started moving like a ghost ship. One employee allegedly renamed the main HR chat to Hug Resources, a joke at first, but one that quickly became a grim symbol of what had been lost. Respect, stability, trust. It wasn't just about the affair anymore. The foundation of the company, its leadership, its ethics, its compliance structure, had cracked under the weight of a 30-second kiss cam moment. And by now, investors were no longer watching for updates. They were demanding answers. Industry sources say calls to Astronomer's board intensified, with major backers asking if bonuses, promotions, or employee reviews had ever been influenced by an undisclosed relationship. That's when the panic finally hit the boardroom. 48 hours after the scandal first broke, Astronomer issued a cold 8-line press release. Andy Byron was out, effective immediately. No farewell, no transition plan, no thanks. Just a digital execution in corporate speak. Kristen Kitt, the HR director, now infamous for her front-row seat in the drama, was placed on administrative leave pending external review. According to insiders, the company's lawyers are now in triage mode, preparing for waves of potential lawsuits, regulatory scrutiny, and possible reopenings of closed HR investigations. Because one undisclosed relationship isn't just unethical, it could make every prior decision vulnerable to re-examination in court. Stepping in as interim CEO was Pete Danger-Joy, a co-founder who had previously taken a backseat to Byron's meteoric rise. But insiders say his new job isn't innovation, it's damage control. His first move was freezing all non-essential spending. His second, hiring one of the most expensive crisis PR firms in the business, the kind of outfit whose invoices come with NDA clauses. No inspirational town hall, no rallying speech, just spreadsheets and lawyers. Then came the dreaded investor call. What was supposed to be a 10-minute Q&A turned into a 45-minute storm. One investor reportedly asked, who was in charge of signing off on compliance docs while HR was allegedly cuddling with the CEO? There was no clear answer, and the silence only made things worse. By Monday, LinkedIn saw a 300% spike in Astronomer employees updating their resumes. Recruiters flooded inboxes with rough week messages. One rival company even posted an ad targeting burned-out Astronomer engineers. We don't do midnight Slack pings. Join us. Inside the company, departments fractured. Product teams clashed with finance over roadmaps. Legal teams clashed with HR over what they didn't know. According to one source, the final collapse wasn't explosive, it was surgical. With the CEO gone, the HR head suspended, and staff morale in freefall, Astronomer found itself in an identity crisis. A data-driven company now flying blind. One source described it as Silicon Valley's equivalent of a controlled demolition, except nobody was in control. Every internal system, once praised for precision, had become a liability. Because when your analytics genius becomes a public punchline and your compliance officer is trending for the wrong reasons, numbers lose their meaning. Investors weren't just questioning leadership, they were questioning the product. What happens when the people selling integrity are exposed for breaking it? According to insiders, at least 2 enterprise clients quietly paused contracts. And the real panic? Valuation estimates dropped by nearly 9 figures. And outside the company, the damage was already immortalized in memes. Etsy vendors were selling Fix You mugs featuring Andy ducking mid-kiss cam. TikTok edits mashed together Coldplay lyrics and Slack leaks like a breakup montage. One viral post featured Kristen's old LinkedIn quote, trusted by the CEO faster than any product demo, overlaid with clown makeup filters. But while the internet turned the scandal into a punchline, former employees began turning it into a movement. Several posted open letters calling out the broader industry pattern, how tech companies reward cult of personality leadership even when it hides dysfunction. One wrote, "We weren't shocked by the kiss. We were shocked it took a stadium camera to make anyone care." Kerrion, meanwhile, said nothing, but her silence had already told the full story. Insiders claim she's preparing a legal separation and has secured a high-profile family attorney known for handling celebrity divorces. According to reports, Meghan had already backed up years of financial records, digital communication logs, and shared business accounts before the scandal broke. She wasn't reacting, she was ready. And that quiet preparedness is what turned her from a sympathetic figure into a symbol. While the internet debated apology posts and PR spin, Megan simply deleted her last name and let the receipts do the rest. Sources close to her say she has no intention of returning to public life, but her actions have already echoed across the tech world. So what's the real cost of a moment like this? One kiss, 15 seconds, one panicked flinch, caught in 4K, and $1 billion empire implodes. It wasn't just the scandal, it was the receipts, the timeline, the silence, the memes. It was a company built on image, undone by evidence. And in 2025, integrity doesn't slip quietly. It shatters. The next time a CEO sits front row at a concert, they won't just worry about the lights or the sound system, they'll worry about the kiss cam and the next person holding a phone. Because in a world of instant uploads, every moment is potential evidence. And every betrayal, personal or corporate, is one camera zoom away from becoming headline news. Friday's all-hands meeting turned into what employees now call the Zoom massacre. As staff fired off questions, would their performance reviews be rerun? Who investigates HR? Would bonuses still come? Pete Joy tried to keep control, but his answers felt more like placeholders than solutions. One developer allegedly typed into the chat, "Data company, no data, trust broken, now what?"